So it's the B.R.E.W method, and the B stands for be the moment. So really start owning the moment. Recognize that it's your presence, that you are here, it's intentional. And then we're going to raise your confidence. So there's lots of nuances in that. Confidence can be a lot of different things. That could be supporting and raising confidence in others or yourself. And then we're going to engage. So all of those engage tips and tricks and all of those little micro moments in between. And then the last one is the W, which is what about the stuff? There's always going to be stuff that comes at you. There's always going to be an angle that you weren't expecting. So how are you going to handle that? And that goes back to the rest of them. The more you practice those things, the more you will be much more equipped to handle when things go a bit sideways.
Interesting. So give us a practical application of this, or an example is probably a better way to make the request. How do people do this? Or give me a situation that we can, bite down on.
Sure. So, for example, if I want to reach out to someone, then I'm not going to pick up the phone and just reach out and call and say, hey, would love to talk to you about, some real estate transactions or whatever that may be. If you're in the market ever, consider me. So let's be more intentional, which means that B.R.E.W method and being in the moment is we need to plan that. So we need to really sit down and say, okay, if I am going to do this, or if I have an agenda in a meeting, how can I plan that a little bit differently for that 1% lift? If it's the same type of agenda I've always done, if it is the same questions I've always asked, it's time to change those up for impact. Yes. So that's number one. That's an example of that. And then raising that confidence would be if you have any sort of anxiety or not as confident in doing what that action is going to be, which a lot of us do, especially if we're doing outreach. There are some tricks and tips there with your nonverbal communication that you can do. Ironically enough, your posture matters a lot in your confidence. Yeah, sit up straight. Sit up straight.
There we go. I'm better. Yes.
Everyone who's listening is like, oh, I need to sit up straight. So psychologically, the more that we have a power pose or our posture is good, the more confident we're going to be. So on a psychological level, it actually helps us be more confident. So if we are doing that, it also helps our breathing, which is phenomenal, because if we get a little bit anxious, a lot of times we forget to breathe. We're doing that real shallow breath.
Right.
So we want to make sure that we're breathing to also calm the nerves, which also creates great confidence. So lots of things going on there. Also on a psychological level between humans, when you have this great posture and you're open and welcoming, you're actually opening and inviting communication in. So for example, a lot of times I will see people who walk into a room or get out of a car to walk into maybe a coffee meeting, those types of things. I have it here, so I'll show you. We have a notebook here. We have our phone here, and we're holding everything and our posture's down, or we're looking at our phone because we want to act like we're busy because we have a little bit of nerves. All of this is called low power. And what we're essentially doing is shutting off that communication or that open invite to say easily, come chat with me, instead of walking with our high power, everything is to our sides or possibly in a bag, and we are looking ready to have that interaction. It's much different. It's very subtle, has huge impact. So that's raising some of that confidence. And then your engaging goes back to how are you going to engage? That's that prep work in the beginning and being the moment. What are those questions that you're going to ask? Can you ask them differently for a better result or better impact? If you have questions you're thinking of that you always ask right now that get a yes, no answer, and usually it's a no or a type of answer, start thinking about how you can reframe those questions a bit differently to get a little bit more of that interaction. And all of that will then support you when things like they show up 30 minutes late happens. That's that what if. Or, you put your lovely outfit, your sleeve right in the food that you're eating, and it doesn't, it's just there now. So it's all those things that happen. You're going to be ready for it because you've already prepped the rest of it.